Okay, here's the new tutorial for chapter 12 because the old one was very, very out of date. So this level, it's very simple. It's basically when you come down here, so here's the altar, and there are the 3 statues all around it behind these big yellow barriers. And you can't clip through them, obviously. We used to do strats where you would clip kind of down, you go in like a corner here and go down and underneath of them. But we found a better strat that only does 1 clip. So what you'll do, see this barrier here with the big square hole that you're supposed to go into? To the left of this, you want to go over here. And it is important that you do it in this corner and not one of the other ones. You'll see why in a second. So first you're going to come up here. When you're coming up here, you want to crouch before you go over here. It's a small time save. But it just makes it so you don't like pop up in the air when you gravity change. So now this line right here along this texture, I'm gonna put 1 point out here. Doesn't really matter where. Just give yourself some space. Has to be at least like 1.5 tiles out. And the other one, you're gonna want to go in as far into the corner as you can. And as you can see, I can actually move pretty far out to the left off of this ledge. It's the ledge you get into the corner as much as possible. If there's too much of a gap, this is fine. And like, you can honestly be like over to here pretty much. But if there's too much of a gap, it makes it easier that the clip will just shoot you downwards. So now the clip, it's really easy. In the corner, you want to go 2 up on this wall, where that gate is. You want to go to 2 blocks over, right there. And then 2, and then this last one, you go over 1. Right? And quick save, quick load. Sometimes this will just pop you through immediately. Sometimes you have to do a second one. This one, it's really easy. Like that. There you go. Okay. It was a little messy. It can be a little weird because sometimes, like right now, the reason the camera is jittering is that I'm actually standing on top of a texture and not on top of the yellow force field like I want to be. There we go. So now I'm on top of the force field. And it's forced me to crouch because I'm underneath the ceiling as well, but that's fine, doesn't matter. So now you look over this way. Again, there's the hole in the ground, just to keep yourself orientated. So you want to look at this wall, where the barrier is, and specifically this line at the top of that doorway. You want to place a point, basically imagine a line straight across to there. Put your first point there, and then your second point over here along this line, right here. And then put your third point over here, and just try and make it this one as level with over here as possible. Just a straight line over. Right? And so now you can just walk straight out. You don't have to jump or anything. And you want to keep this, the reason you do those lineups is you want this triangle to be very, very level so that when you climb up to the next one, you don't have to worry about too much of a drastic gravity change. So when you do this one on this wall, put 2 points at the very, very top. And then the third point over here along this line right here, where it changes from the solid blue texture to the tiles. Right? And then you can just climb up. So if that bottom one is at a weird angle, then climbing up here, your gravity can shift and you might fall off. And if you fall off, obviously you're back in bounds and you're way far away, you just have to load a save. Which is another thing I should mention. It's pretty much at every stage of this, I like to just hit a quick save. So like when you get on the force field here, when you get the first triangle, do the second triangle. Just constantly quick save, just to be careful. So with that first one, that gets rid of that one, but doesn't matter. It gets rid of that one, which does matter. So now you come over here, and you want to very carefully tap to the left, because if you just hold to the left, then you can fall in bounds really easily. You'll hold too much momentum, and so you can fall in bounds like that. So you don't want to do that, so just be careful. Right? It's like, it's more generous than it looks like. It looks very narrow, and it is, but you can go pretty far off to the side. And see, if you're like this, it auto crouches you because you're underneath the ceiling, but I'm still up here, so you can just move back to the right, it's fine. At this end, just do a point in here, and then I do a point on either side of the barrier. It doesn't really matter, like as long as it's kind of level. you know, as level as this can be. You know, you just don't want like a really weird triangle. Like you don't want, you know, this point up on the wall somewhere or somewhere weird. And then you just do another triangle to bridge yourself over to here. Get that. Then one thing to note while you're over here, just be careful not to fall off. This space, when you drop down here, it's actually still out of bounds. You're in this weird space where your bottom half is in bounds and your top half is out of bounds. Well, don't do that. And so, like, yeah, you know, don't fall off. General rule of thumb, doing all this out of bounds stuff is don't fall off. When you come back in bounds, I like to do a jump, and I feel like that gets you in bounds a little bit quicker. And there's the first statue and the last switch. Then you just run around and collect all the statues and you put them on the altar. Putting the first two on there like that, it doesn't actually matter. Because the portal timer only starts when you place the third one. But, so yeah, placing those don't really matter. It would be like a tiny minuscule time save, if anything. But yeah, that's chapter 12. It's much, much easier than the old strats, and it's way faster than intended strats.